Is everyone back from the breakout rooms?
They're coming back in like 60 seconds, maybe like 45 seconds now.
Okay. Patience. Huh? Is the recording on?
It is. You are all set.
Okay, is everyone back? I think so. Okay, so good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you Julie Chisho Kase. She is maybe the longest serving member of our Zen Center. You were with us when we started at the house on Humphrey. And I think Julie has probably been to more sessions, retreats, than anybody except for Jun Roshi and me. And, you know, we're having an ongoing training now, and Julie is the head cook. We call it the Tenzo, which is a senior position in Zen centers because when you do retreats, the food matters. So that's a very senior position, and I'm just delighted to introduce Chisho this morning for you.
Welcome. Thanks for coming to my talk. It's humbling to give a talk because I basically just sit around in my pajamas. So my talk is mental illness and Zen. So I'm going to talk about my experience with mental illness, with Zen, and I'm going to give some tips on dealing with mental illness. And don't worry, if you don't have mental illness, the tips are probably, most of them are pretty good for regular people. Okay, so first, my experience with mental illness. It started in high school. I got depression, and then I got depression again in college. I was never suicidal, but it was pretty bad where I was like having trouble getting out of bed. And I lost weight and I had trouble doing things. Also, I've had anxiety. So for that, I got it so bad that I had chest pain, and I ended up going to the ER twice because I thought I was having it was like radiating down my arm, and I was worried that I was having problems with my heart, so they put me on a heart monitor and gave me an EKG, and it wasn't my heart, it was just anxiety. Also, I had anxiety where it affected my body and I got really nauseous. So I was nauseous for like a month straight, and I got down, I was having trouble eating because of that, because who wants to eat when you're nauseous? And I got down to like 90 something pounds, which was scary not to be able to eat. Also, I had PTSD. When I was 30, I had a sexual assault, and that happens to 1 in 3 women. But I got PTSD from it, so I was getting like flashbacks, and it's like you're kind of on edge all the time. And I remember being really tired. And then most recently, I started getting psychotic breaks, which is that can be caused from genetics or trauma. I think mine's from trauma. But for me, those psychotic breaks is like, it's like a superstitious dream world. and you can end up doing some kooky things. And my current psychiatrist says that I'm either bipolar or schizophrenic, and that's not what you want to hear. Like, I don't want to have schizophrenia because then I would have to learn how to spell it. I've been hospitalized probably close to 5 times, which means you go to the ER and then they admit you to the hospital and you stay on the psych ward and you're locked in, and you get your meals and you wear the scrubs and like you meet in groups. And for that, the first time I was hospitalized, it was really scary because, you know, in haunted houses, they always have a psych ward with like scary people chasing you and stuff. So I was really scared and I didn't even talk to the doctor for 3 days. It took me 3 days to calm down. Yeah, they monitor you. And you get to watch TV. I've been on lots of medications, like so many different medications. One medication even stopped my period. And then there's been lots of other ones. So it's like trial and error. Currently, I get an injection in my arm of antipsychotics every 3 months. And if I massage my arm, it doesn't hurt. But I'm on disability for mental illness and I live with my parents. So that's my experience with mental illness. For my Zen experience, I've been meditating for about 20 years. I started Zen 14 years ago. So every time I got like an opportunity to meditate, it's been good. Like, so it just kept drawing me in and in and in. I was driving in my car and listening to the radio, and I heard Roshi Robert speaking about politics, and I was like at a gas station or something, and I just wrote down the information for the Zen Center and on a scrap of paper, and I put it on my cork board because I wanted to check it out. And it took me a while to get around to it, but I eventually checked out the Zen Center and loved it. So I showed up and that was when I was having PTSD. And I was like, when I meditate, I get tightness in my throat. And he's like, okay, take the primer class. And that's the Foundations of Mindfulness class now. And so I took the primer class, and it was really, really great. And I started Zen therapy with him. So I did Zen therapy for a while. And then we transitioned into me being a Zen student. And I took the Jukai ceremony, where you take the Bodhisattva vow, and I got the name Chisho, which means luminous wisdom. It's a big name. And then I started going to retreats because it was like a vacation, because my life was like super chaotic. At one point I was living in my car, like lots of chaos. And the retreats were like a vacation. So I've been to lots of retreats, and then I ended up becoming the Tenzo, which is the cook, which is really, it's a big job too. But I recommend it if you ever get the chance to try. Okay, so now I'll give you some tips. There's a big stigma about mental illness. So it's like disease is a process. It's not who you are. Like, you're a human being first. And I would say to be authentic. Like, you don't have to tell everybody. There's a time and a place for if you want to share about it. One thing that helps the stigma for me is to remember all the famous people that have been mentally ill. I got like a list online of like 300 people, but I'll just read you. I'll just read you a couple. Ludwig van Beethoven had bipolar disorder. Ben Stiller has bipolar disorder. Isaac Newton was suspected bipolar. Winston Churchill was bipolar. Charles Schultz from the Snoopy cartoons had clinical depression. Frank Lloyd Wright had clinical depression. John Quincy Adams had clinical depression. Leonard Cohen had clinical depression. Pablo Picasso had clinical depression. Ray Charles had clinical depression. Vincent van Gogh had clinical depression and was suspected bipolar. Charles Dickens had clinical depression and it was also suspected bipolar. Jackson Pollock had clinical depression. Judy Garland had clinical depression. Marilyn Monroe had clinical depression. Angelina Jolie had depression. Abraham Lincoln had severe clinical depression. Charles Darwin had severe panic disorder. Jack Kerouac had clinical depression. Dolly Parton had clinical depression. And Rosemary Clooney had bipolar. That was just a couple. In my 20s, me and my two little sisters hiked on the Appalachian Trail for 3 months, up and down mountains with a big heavy pack on your back. And we did 667 miles, which goes from Georgia to Virginia. And mental illness reminds me a lot of hiking because you have to be patient. It takes a lot of self-compassion, and you have to carry your own stuff. It's a feeling of like carrying stuff up and down mountains. And it's like, I think I can. But there's lots of like traditions along the way and cool things you can see. Like we saw fireflies that light up blue. There's a tradition where you try to eat a whole half gallon of ice cream by yourself. I didn't do that one, but yeah. Okay, here's a nice quote from Sharon Salzberg. Often we can achieve an even better result when we stumble, yet are willing to start over. When we don't give up after a mistake, when something doesn't come easily, but we throw ourselves into trying, when we're not afraid to appear less than perfectly polished. I really like that quote. It's about stumbling and not giving up and not being perfect. Yeah, with mental illness, you cannot be perfect. This book is called The Gifts of Imperfection, and it's by Brene Brown. It's a really nice book. Wholehearted living is about engaging in our lives from a place of worthiness. It means cultivating the courage, compassion, and connection to wake up in the morning and think, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. It's going to bed thinking, yes, I am imperfect and vulnerable and sometimes afraid, but that doesn't change the truth that I am also brave and worthy of love and belonging. So you might think, what will people think? Or you can't really love yourself yet. You're not blank enough. Or no one can find out about blank. Or I'm going to pretend that everything is okay. So something that helps me with worthiness is council circles with the Sangha. We always have council circles at the end of a retreat, and it's where you get in a circle and people speak from the heart and everybody listens from the heart. You take turns and it's confidential. So when I have the courage to speak from the heart, it's kind of like something magic happens and the Sangha is there and I feel something lights up. It's just like there's so much worthiness and it's safe. And I really recommend council circles. It's a good practice to do. This book is called Full Catastrophe Living by John Kabat-Zinn. And this is where it all started for me. When I was in college, I went to a therapist because I had a breakup with a boyfriend and I was really sad. She photocopied a chapter of this book, and just reading the words calmed me down. It's got practices in here about body scans and yoga. I did a lot of yoga in my 20s, a lot. But I recommend this book too. The title alone is, you don't have to buy the book, just know the title. Okay, this book is called A Year to Live, and it's by Stephen Levine. This is a really neat one. We had a book club on this one with the Zen Center. You basically pretend that you have 1 year to live, and then you do things that you would do if that was true. So if I'm feeling kind of lost or something like that, that's something that I'll actually do. I'll pretend I have a year to live, and then I'll just live like that. Just as some horticulturists push flowers, forcing them to bloom by placing them temporarily in darkness, so the contemplation of death can push the blossoming of our lotus. Okay, so one time June Roshi was visiting Nikoli Roshi in California, and she texted me these 5 remembrances. And this is another good, it's another treasure. I'll read it to you. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everything I love are of the nature of change. There is no escape from being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. Yeah, You can just remember your deeds. Medication and therapy are pretty important. You can try different medications. You don't have to take medication, but sometimes it's necessary. And a good therapist is really a great thing because it's like a regular check-in. Also, if you're having an emergency, definitely go to the ER. You can just go to any hospital and they'll help you out. You can also call or text 988. It's a suicide hotline if you're feeling suicidal, and that's always an emergency. I would say to trust yourself. I checked in with AI for my talk, and and AI said to it didn't say radically, it said accept your mental illness and just focus on self-care. And I think that's solid advice from the AI. You can stay safe, so definitely with the suicidal thoughts, treat them as an emergency. You can trust the people around you to help you stay safe. Believe that you have worth and you matter. And your mental illness might be opening you up to a new world. I would say for taking good care of yourself, there's sleep, diet, exercise, spending time outside, taking a break from social media and news, and doing something you enjoy. I'd recommend that you read all you can. When I got depressed in high school and college, I read so much on depression. Like, I read that sugar and refined flour can affect you, so I gradually stopped eating that completely. June Roshi taught me how to eat sugar again. Like, she gave me some chocolate covered toffees and then we meditated. But I also read that water has an effect on you. So one time I was in a really dark mood. I wasn't suicidal, but at that point I could see why somebody would be suicidal. And I had a glass of water and it was gone. It just, a glass of water fixed the whole thing. Also, studies show that if you're deficient in vitamins and minerals, it can cause depression. So like magnesium, zinc, manganese, iodine, vitamin D, B vitamins, iron, amino acids, and omega-3s. The amino acids is why I'm not a vegan. So that's just like, I admire vegans. You can also use nonviolent communication. This book is by Marshall Rosenberg. He's dead now, but we have his books and videos. And for depression, you can look at the needs list and see which one you want to go for. So, like, it could be creativity, authenticity, meaning, self-worth, support, play, movement, inspiration, touch. One time I looked at this list and then I just went to go get a massage. But you can kind of like troubleshoot with that. Uh, for when things are not going so great, journaling is really excellent. You can just be your own best friend and write about what's up for you. It's really comforting, and for some reason it kind of solves my problems a lot of the time. Retreats are important, so I've been to a lot of Zen retreats, which I said are like vacations. I've also done 3 Native American bearing witness retreats. So one time I had kind of like a low-grade depression, and then I went to the Native American bearing witness retreat, and the buffalo dance fixed my depression. It's like a ceremony where the young kids get in the middle of the circle, and then the grandparent age people get in a concentric circle around the young kids, and then on the outer circle are the warrior age people, which was like me and other young adults. And then two people dress up like a buffalo and charge the circle and try to break through to the middle, and your job is to keep them out. It's kind of like Red Rover. And there's some tobacco smoking too. But one time I was like kind of down. This was when I was having psychotic breaks, and my parents were gone, and I did some nude sunbathing and had a beer, and it just did wonders for my mood. And I told my psychiatric nurse practitioner that, and she actually prescribed me beer. She's like, not a lot, just a couple. And I was like, okay. The Sangha and social support is one of the 3 treasures for a reason. They'll treat you like a human being. They'll treat you with respect and kindness and hold you to a standard. I really recommend being part of a Sangha. And then like social support in the community. One time, this was when I was freshly PTSD'd. I was having these really bloody flashbacks every night, like clockwork. And then my friend did Reiki on me, and the flashbacks stopped. No more flashbacks ever again. So I recommend Reiki too. Zen teachers have been really important for me. They've been like a constant source of support, and they're really good with advice. So you can get really good advice. And they're also good role models. I recommend belly breathing for anxiety, or just for like having a center. So if you want to try it right now, it's a good challenge. You can kind of sit up straight, and then if you want to put your hand on your belly, you can, or you don't have to. But you inhale and your belly goes out, and exhale and your belly goes back in. And it's kind of helps to relax your belly, and it fills with air like a balloon and then deflates. And this is something that I'll do to just check in during the day. Like I'll do a quick belly breathing activity. And it's for anxiety. This is also really relaxing to do if you're laying down. You can like have your belly rise and fall with your breath. For PTSD, you can use the 5 senses, and I couldn't make it through all 5 when I was really scared, but I could do it. I could just do sight, so I look around the room, and that would help. You might wonder if there's a place for craziness in Zen, and there is. It's in the Gate of Sweet Nectar. There's a service called the Gate of Sweet Nectar where they offer spiritual food to the hungry ghosts. And some of the ghosts are crazy. And it's like actual ghosts, and it's also your inner craziness too. So you can do the Gate of Sweet Nectar for that. When I had chest pain from anxiety, I was really scared, and they prescribed me Xanax. So I would take Xanax and then watch SpongeBob SquarePants cartoons. And he's really comforting because he likes his job. He's a cook at a restaurant, and he also has a pet snail named Gary who meows. The most important recommendation I have is sitting. I sit an hour a day, and I've been doing that for the last 20 years. I've missed a couple days, but for the most part, it's been 20 years, and it's like magic. It makes me feel so much better. It helps your brain integrate. It helps you to be with sensations, like physical sensations. When I first started in my 20s, it was with Vipassana meditation, which is basically like body scans, which you go through your different body parts and notice how you're feeling in each body part and be with it, and then move to the next part of your body. So you can use that to check in with yourself during the day too, by like feeling your body and noticing if there's any attentions that's calling your attention. So like if you have tightness in your chest or a feeling in your belly, you can notice it and then make a decision of what you're going to do next after that. So you like notice it first. But with sitting, it's an intentional embodied awareness without judgment. And you focus on breathing, counting your breath up to 10, and then you start back at 1 and do it again. And for beginners, I like to recommend to just do 2 minutes and then increase the time from there. It really helps me to slow down because you can only breathe so fast. I've noticed lately that like when I'm counting my breath, I'm in a hurry to keep counting it. So I think that means that I'm like going too fast. So I recommend being embodied with the body scans. You can also do body scans when you're laying down. It's really relaxing. There's different tapes and recordings you can listen to, or you can just do it yourself and just go through your different body parts and feel them. Another thing that's helped is the Bodhisattva vow. So vowing to save all sentient beings. It's a huge vow, and it's like so impossible, but it's something you can count on. Like you can count on the vow being there. So when you wake up in the morning, it's there for you. And you can do activities that are about the vow. I would say that money problems are to be expected, and you might need some extra rest. I got into a little bit of debt, but it's better now, but I think that's probably pretty normal. Sense of humor is so important. If you can make some jokes about yourself, then things are still not so bad, you know. Something else that's important is, to me, is doing basic activities with mindfulness. So like doing the dishes, putting on my shoes, things like that. It makes it meaningful. And I'm on disability for mental illness, so I don't have a job. So doing these regular activities, like just doing the dishes, it's makes it meaningful. It makes my life meaningful. I'd also say gratitude is another thing that AI said it's pretty spot on. Notice what's going well in your life and be thankful. You can also, for self-compassion, you can also test your self-compassion at self-compassion.org. I got a moderate score, which is great. But like you can test it and then do some self-compassion practices like metta. May I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, and then do that for a couple days and go back and test your compassion again and see if it got a change. Yeah. So I would say that my life is pretty good. My mental illnesses have gotten like more extreme, but I've been stable for coming up on 2 years. And I think it's a good thing. So, any comments or questions?
Well, I can start here. Thank you for speaking today, for bringing up this important topic. I think it stuck with me once. I don't know how true this is, but it said it was like a stat that like at any point in someone's life, 80% of people will be meeting the criteria for something in the DSM that diagnoses mental illness. That's 80% of us at some time or another will walk through some version of this. So it's so lovely to see you speak of it, to bring it. You're such a beautiful person with the way you support our Sangha and bring your authentic self to us. And I really enjoy practicing with you, I really do. And I just want to say thank you for how you support all of us in our practice together.
I think that's one of the best Dharma talks I've ever heard. Really. One of the best Dharma talks I've ever heard, and truly spectacular. You could hear a pin drop in this room. Really wonderful. Thank you, Chisho.
Wow,
Really?
Chisho, you just touched my heart in a way that it was such a lovely, honest, courageous talk, and I have so much admiration for you. When we've practiced together, sit together, I just feel your presence in ways that is all encompassing and enveloping. I just consider it such a lovely opportunity to practice with you and to have you here gracing all of our lives. Thank you so, so much.
Julie, hi. It's Earl. I really admire your courage, for doing this talk. I know it's not easy. And one other thing I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite cookbook? Because
Yeah,
you are a cook, so.
the Zen River Cookbook.
Is
Volume
it Zen River Cookbook? Pardon, I didn't hear.
Zen River Cookbook, Volume 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Susan?
I miss you.
I miss you too.
Known you for 10 years now. And one time you sent me a red rubber nose. And it's over there, and I don't wear it often enough. But I just want to say you are the blue lightning bug.
Aww, aw, that's nice. Thank you.
Julie,
Yep.
y- you're my heroine, and I want to be like you when I grow up. Thank you so much for a wonderful talk.
Oh, Julie, so wonderful. I'm just humbled. Just humbled. I wouldn't have had the courage, absolutely not have had the courage to do what you did this morning. You know, as I've grown older, I have encountered depression, something that I never thought, because it's just not me. But you know, it's real. And I so appreciate your being straight on with this. And I love being a member of the Sangha with you. Thank you.
Too.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello. Yeah, you probably hear me just fine from here. But yeah, as someone that struggled with a lot of the same things that you seem to struggle with. My grandfather had bipolar disorder, and I thought I had it when I was like 17. And so I struggled with the kind of chaos that comes from navigating your mental health and trying to figure out how to stabilize that. It let me hear, which is good. But I think it's really wonderful that you felt that you could share that with everyone here. And I think that it's important for people who are dealing with the similar things to understand that not only are they not alone, but that people here are figuring it out too. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Oh,
Jackie, yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
Good morning. Good morning, Roshan. Roshan, good morning, Sangha. Good morning, Chisho. What a pleasure to see you this morning. I just want to thank you so much for bringing the Sangha closer together this morning. I feel an overwhelming sense that we've all taken a deeper dive into the importance of how close we are. And I think that you just put that thread through to allow us all to go deeper and feel closer as a family. That was a gift that you gave us this morning. I feel collectively that I can say that very truthfully. I love your sense of humor. I always picture you doing like, you know, an HBO comedy hour. I've always pictured that when I listen to you. And I love your food. And I also want to share that Chisho made this, if everyone can see it. So the many talents we haven't heard about, I get to touch this and feel this and have it close to me every day. Thank you. And I just want to tell you that as a woman, my life has had, you know, I've experienced some of the things you've talked about. I really appreciate you opening this door, this gateway, for all of us to, you know, become more intimate. And I'm very grateful for our budding side friendship and just what you bring to my life. Just the magic. You're just beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, here?
I was just curious, what led you to stabilization? Like you said, you've been stable for 2 years. So I was just curious, was it a culmination of the things you've talked about, or was there something that really kind of just led you there? I don't know, I'm just curious.
I think it's like the medication that I'm on and sitting sitting an hour a day really helps. And then pretty much everything I've talked about is like helps beef it up for me. But it's like trial and error. So you just try things and see what helps. I also have a therapist, so I check in. But as you go, for me, it gets easier as you go, because you learn more and more things, and learn what works for you and what doesn't.
Thank you so much for that, Julie. I so appreciate it. You've been here for as long as I've been here, for sure. I remember sitting in a Heart Sutra discussion with you over in the house with Dan Gilloth and Brandon or Brendan and you, and I can't remember who else. And I remember I was brand new to coming to Zen, and I'm sitting with a group studying the Heart Sutra. I thought, what in the heck have I got myself into? I didn't understand a word of it. But I wonder if you could just, have you done a talk like this before? And if you haven't, how does it feel right now to have been this, as Brene Brown says, authentic and vulnerable and whole?
It's good. I feel really supported. You guys are wonderful. Yeah, even my boyfriend's here online. Hi, Peter.
Oh, here, Roshi Jun. Coming across, cutting across.
Chisho, what a beautiful talk. Thank you so much. Yes, your vulnerability, your courage, and your strength just shone through today. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done all these years to lead to this point. Mahalo.
Just a few minutes left here. Any other comments online or in the room? Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that. And I want to say I'm very glad that you found the Zen Center, because I do think, just from what I've seen, community and connections are so important. So shout out to everybody in the Zen Center too for being such a great Sangha.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, with that, we will go ahead and move to the community room for Kinship Circle. Thank you, Julie. Those of you online, thank you for being here this morning. Good to see you all. Take care.
Thanks. Oh, thanks. That means a lot. So you really are an inspiration.
Julie, 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 your sister's microphone is not working, and she wants everyone to know how proud she is of you and how grateful she is that everyone realizes how amazing you are.
Thank you for that.
Sure.